sure, let us start our Dhamma talk by saying Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. The title of today's Dhamma talk is The Struggle. Regarding this discourse, there are 2 kinds of struggles. One is external struggle and 2 is internal struggle. Out of the 2, the first one, external struggle, means to make strenuous effort to overcome the extreme attachment and from grasping of the animate and inanimate sensual objects, which is the main source of greed or lobha and avarice. It is affirmatively stated in the Pitaka scriptures that sharing with or giving away of one's possessions to other needy or worthy persons is like fighting the enemy in a battle, because one has to suppress greed and avarice to indulge in generosity or liberality. To cite as an example, during Buddha's lifetime in India at Savatthi, there lived a Brahmin couple. They were so poor that they possessed only one shawl or garment to share between the 2, and they are called Eka Sataka, that is single garment couple. One day, when they heard that the Lord Buddha was giving Dhamma discourses at Jidavana monastery, the desire to listen to the discourses arose in their heart. But as they have only one shawl or garment to put on, both of them could not go to the monastery together at the same time. So they decided that the wife should attend the day sermon and the husband the night sermon. While the husband Brahman was listening to the Buddha's discourse, a strong sada or desire arose in him to offer something to our Lord Buddha. Since he had nothing else, he thought of offering the only possession of the single shawl, which he had to share with his wife, to the Lord Buddha. At that moment, the opposing thoughts arose in him, arguing the fact that without the shawl, the wife would be obliged to stay indoors at home, not able to attend the functions or the Dhamma discourses. Thus, the conflicting thoughts of to offer the garment or not started struggling in his mind for the whole of the night discourse. To every thought of offering the garment, about 1,000 opposing negative thoughts arose in his mind. Though the opposing forces of conflict in his mind were not in proportion, as a valiant warrior can vanquish 1,000 ordinary soldiers in the battlefront, he finally conquered his opposing negative thoughts, and he succeeded in offering the shawl to the Buddha at dawn when the discourse came to a conclusion. Now let us study the second one, internal struggle. Internal struggle means the effort made to subdue, attenuate, and finally eradicate the negative forces that defy one's mind. Out of the two struggles, this internal struggle is more difficult to combat, for which our Lord Buddha had elaborated detailed strategy in Mahasatipatthana Sutta. A. The targets to be attacked. B. Weapons to be equipped. C. The time to assault. D. The price of victory. Now, the first one, the targets to be attacked are the material or physical part of the body, the feelings or sensations, the consciousness of mind and its concomitants, and Dhamma or all the mental and physical objects that arise through the six sense doors of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. These are to be noted as the four targets. Then the second tragedy is weapons to be equipped are virya or effort, sati or mindfulness, samadhi or concentration, then discriminating knowledge or panya, and vitaka or initial application of the mind onto the object. Then the third one is the time to assault. Assault here means the mindful noting of all the objects as they arise through the six sense doors. The time to assault means at the moment of their arising. Though mindfulness is the main emphasis, other faculties of energy or virya, concentration or samadhi, wisdom or panya, and initial application of vitaka are also included. To clarify, let us apply the simile by choosing one target in our body in sitting meditation. When the abdomen of one's body is moving up and down, one should intently make a mental note of rising and falling of the abdomen. When these sensations arise, or when thinking, remembering, or any other object that arises from the six sense doors should be also mindfully noted. The relentless mindful noting of all the psychophysical phenomena from the six sense doors amount to attacking the targets with assault weapons at the time of occurrence. Now, the price of victory. The benefit of mindfulness meditation, according to the doctrinal proclamation, is the complete eradication of lobha or greed, dosa or anger, and moha or delusion. When one incessantly contemplates on all the objects as they arise through six sense doors, one clearly perceives their natural characteristics, and as the practical benefit of meditation, the attachment or craving, the anger or aversion, and other mental defilements are surmounted at that moment. Truly, all living beings, not aware of the arising and passing away of the psychophysical phenomena due to their heedlessness, they view and attach these phenomena as nature or permanent, sukha or pleasant, atta or substantial, ego and individual, etc. Whereas our meditators who most ardently and respectfully contemplate on these phenomena according to Satipatthana Sutta as expounded by our Lord Buddha, they clearly perceive the impermanence or anicca, the unsatisfactoriness or dukkha, and egolessness or anatta characteristics at the moment of noting. Thus, intensively and diligently meditating, one can finally eradicate the mental defilements of greed or lobha, anger or dosa, and delusion or moha, and attain the successive stages of path and fruition, mega and phala, and realize the perpetual bliss of Nibbana. So may all Orientals be able to fight against the defiling enemies or kilesas, as mentioned above, and gain the peerless bliss of Nibbana in the shortest possible time. If no questions for the moment, let us continue our discussion or our study about Vipassana Bhavana or insight meditation in our last talk. We haven't finished it yet. In our last talk, I have explained the object, aim and object of Vipassana Bhavana or insight meditation, as Buddha has expounded in the introduction of Satipatthana Sutta, 7 objects and aims. So please don't forget, when you are meditating, you meditate Vipassana Bhavana or insight meditation with these aims and objects, so that you can be on the right track, not to lose sight of your destination. 7 aims and objects Buddha has laid out at that. Ikaino yambe kwe meko satanam visodiya soka pritivanan samatekamaya, that we have many times recited these Pali verses to impress you all that Buddha has expounded these discourses. The first one is to purify the mind, Satana Visuddhiya. Aim and object of meditation is to purify our mind. Why we need to purify our mind? To a non-meditator or the one who is not mindful, our mind is always influenced by these mental defilements, and Pali we call kilesas, lobha or greed, dosa or anger, and moha or delusion or ignorance. So we need to purify this mind, because these are the main cause of suffering. So our aim and ambition is to be relieved of suffering and to gain perpetual bliss or Nibbana. So the first aim and object of insight meditation or Vipassana Bhavana is to purify our mind. The second and third aim and object is to overcome sorrow and lamentation. Then the fourth and fifth is to summon physical pain and mental pain. Then the sixth aim and object is to gain path and fruition knowledge, because the path and fruition knowledge eradicate these mental defilements completely. Then only we can realize the Nibbana, the perpetual bliss of, or eternal bliss free from suffering. So the sixth aim and object is to attain path and fruition knowledge, mega and phala jnana. And the seventh aim and object is to realize Nibbana. So please don't forget it. So to achieve these 7 aims and objects, what to do? We must realize the Four Noble Truths, as I have often quoted in Lord Buddha's, the very first discourse he delivered, turning of the wheel or Dhammacakka Pavatana Sutta. Because we are meeting or we are experiencing this suffering because of our ignorance. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. So we need enlightenment to be free from the samsaric suffering or dukkha, the noble truth of suffering. To be relieved of that, we need to be enlightened. And so please understand the word enlightened, because many authors or many people will interpret their own term. And our Buddhist teaching, enlightenment means by enlightening, one achieves three achievements. One is, one realize the Four Noble Truth. Two, one take Nibbana as object, and one realize Nibbana. And by this path and fruition knowledge, some or all of the mental defilements are eradicated. These three achievements. By these three achievements, a person is said to be enlightened. So please don't forget this very important factor. For easy understanding, commentaries give example of lighting a candle. Suppose a person light a candle. This fire, it consumes the wax and the wick. It produces the flame at the candle. Then it expels the darkness. It puts forth the light. So four things are achieved at the same time by just lighting a candle. So also by meditating, when path consciousness arises, Megha Chaita arises, the four things are done or four things are achieved. Arising of path and fruition, Chaita, Megha Phala Jnana, then penetrating of Four Noble Truths, then taking Nibbana as object and realizing and eradicating the mental defilements. So these four things are achieved at the simultaneously on earth, for when the path of fruition knowledge, Megha Phala Chaita arise. So at the very first beginning of the turning of the wheel, Buddha had said to realize the Four Noble Truths. And theoretically, I believe all of our meditators are familiar with these Four Noble Truths. One is Noble Truth of suffering, dukkha satya. Two, Noble Truth of the cause of suffering, samudaya satya. Three, Noble Truth of the cessation of suffering, nirodha satya. And the four, Megha satya, the path leading to the cessation of suffering. We must achieve that if we want to be free from samsaric suffering and realize the perpetual bliss of Nibbana. So to gain Nibbana or to be free from suffering, we must develop the fourth noble truth of Megha satya, Four Noble Eightfold Path. And that too we have many times explained. I think most of you are familiar also. And this Noble Eightfold Path, there are three categories. One is Sila group, another is Samadhi group, and the third is Panya group. if you categorize these eightfold paths into three groups. Samavacha, Samakamanda, right speech, right action, and Samaajiva, right livelihood, constitutes the Sila group, morality group. And the second group is Samadhi group. Samavayama, you make right effort. Samasati, right mindfulness. And Samasamadhi, right concentration. These three fighters constitute Samadhi group. So the third group is wisdom group or Panya group. Sama deity, right view or right understanding, and Sama Sankappa, right thought. So these two constitute the wisdom group or Panya group. So Sila group, three fighters, Samadhi group, three fighters, Panya group, two fighters, total 8 fighters that we call Noble Eightfold Path. So we have to develop these Noble Eightfold Paths. So how to develop these Noble Eightfold Paths? And then the detailed explanation is given in Satipatthana Sutta. And our last talk I have already explained 4 foundations of mindfulness. Buddha said 4 foundations of mindfulness. This is the Ekayana. This is the only way, there is no other way to develop a Noble Eightfold Path and to realize Nibbana. The only way is by establishing 4 foundations of mindfulness. And he himself asked to answer the question, Katame Chattaro, what are the 4 foundations? Ida Bhekkhve Bhikkhu Kaya Kayanupasi Viharati. Contemplation on physical or bodily or material phenomena, Kayanupasana Satipatthana, the first foundation. Then Vedananupasi Viharati. Contemplation on feeling or sensations, the second foundation. Chaitanupasi Viharati. Contemplation on the mind and mental fighters, the third foundation. And Dhammesu Dhammanupasi Viharati. All the Dhammas, and that too I have already explained in my last talk. So these are the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So first Buddha laid out theoretically, explaining the 4 noble truths, with conclusion that to realize the 4 noble truths or to gain enlightenment, one has to develop these eightfold paths. How? By practicing these 4 foundations of mindfulness. To satisfy the intellectual appetite of his audience, Buddha has elaborately described 21 ways of practicing these 4 foundations of mindfulness, as I have explained in my last talk. Kayanupasana, 14 methods, 1-4. Vedananupasana is 1. Then Chaitanupasana is 16. And Dhammanupasana elaborated 5 sections, so total 21 ways. I have already explained in my talk. This is a theoretical explanation how to practice. But never mind. For practical purposes, if you take up this physical, psychophysical complex so-called being or yourself, which is composed of just mind and matter, briefly speaking, Nama and Rupa, or if you want to elaborate a little bit, 5 khandhas or 5 aggregates that we grasp or cling to as I, mine, and myself. So either 5 aggregates, you may call it, or briefly speaking, just Nama and Rupa as meditation object. If you contemplate, it covers all these methods. So to practice vipassana bhavana or insight meditation, you must at least answer these basic terms or usages so that you can progress well without any difficulty. The first thing you must understand is the nama and rupa, mind and the matter. What is mind and the matter? So-called an individual or a person or a being, as I just often describe, is a just psycho-physical complex. It's a compounded of mind and the matter. This physical body, what we can see or feel, physical body and the mind. So two together constitute a being. So-called a being or a person or man or whatever you call is, please remember, and you must be able to identify in your meditation by your own practical experience. This mind and the matter. First understand the theory, and you must be able to verify or identify in your practical meditation. So how will you recognize or identify these nama and rupa in your practical examination? So let us study one by one. First, rupa or matter. Any unit matter is composed of four great elements. In Pali we call Mahabhuta, four great primary or four great elements. Mahabhuta. Patavi dhatu, earth element. Abo dhatu, water element. Tejo dhatu, heat element. And Vayo dhatu, wind element. Please be patient and if possible, try to learn and remember Pali words also, as I have often request you. Because Pali is, as you all know, Buddha's language. Buddha used this, well, like I think Chinese, Mandarin and Buddha's time. This is understood by majority of people in India during his time. So that's why when he gave discourses, he uses Pali language. So to arouse your sada, please remember, these are easy, just word for word or some short phrase only. So the four great primary elements are: one, Patavi dhatu, earth element; second, Abo dhatu, water element; three, Tejo dhatu, heat element; and four, Vayo dhatu, wind element. If you all have studied Abhidhamma, Buddha has described 28 properties of a matter, but never mind, we don't need it. And practical meditation, if you can recognize these four primary elements, characteristics, four primary elements, it is sufficient to meditate and to understand the Four Noble Truths. So, how to recognize these elements? We recognize things by its characteristics. So in practical meditation, we must, when we observe our object of meditation, we must inspect or we must study or examine or analyze with three characteristics. One is, in Pali we call sabhava lakkhana, natural characteristics of any object, natural characteristic. Two, sankhata lakkhana. All phenomena has three phases: Obara, Thiti and Bhanga, arising, static movement and dissolution. So that the second characteristic is called sankhata lakkhana. Obara with three phases. Any phenomena has three phases. Then these two will lead to the third is samanya lakkhana, meaning universal or common characteristics. So by these three characteristics, we can identify or we can verify these elements in our body, so making up the physical body. So the first one, Patavi Dhatu or Earth element. I always give the meaning of the body I quoted. Patavi Dhatu, Earth element. Natural characteristic is solidity. Our body is made up of this Earth element. That's why you can see or feel each other and we can occupy space because of this quality, characteristic quality of Patavi element or Earth element or Patavi Dhatu. Patavi Dhatu's main characteristic, natural characteristic, its natural characteristic is solidity. Hard you experience as hardness or softness, lightness or heaviness. It is also called as element of extension because it can occupy space. So this is the natural characteristic of Patavi or Earth element. Then the second element is Apo Dhatu or water element. Water element, as you all know, is fluidity. Its characteristic, natural characteristic is fluidity. So it is trickling or cohesion is its property. So by these characteristics we can recognize the Apo Dhatu or water element. Fluidity, cohesion property or trickling property. Then the third element is Tejo Dhatu. Tejo is heat element. So heat element, as you all know, has the characteristics of hot or cool, and in between is warm. All these are the same phenomena, like the two faces of the same coin. Only relatively they are different. Cool and hot. These both are the characteristics of heat element. That is Tejo Dhatu. And the fourth one is Vayu Dhatu or wind element. The characteristics of wind element of motion, movement. Because wind we cannot see, we identify by its movement of the things that come into touch, like fluttering of banners or flags or fluttering of the leaves. Then we know the direction of the wind blew. So the element, the characteristic of element of motion, Vayu or wind is element of motion. It is. Here, what you of note is these four elements, they cannot exist alone. They had to arise together and cease together. In order of preponderance or predominance, we point, this is Patavi Dhatu, this is Apo Dhatu. Even in Apo Dhatu, other three elements they are inseparable. They arise together, they cease together. I often give the example, supposing you read a newspaper and the newspaper headline said, Singapore Prime Minister visited Malaysia. That doesn't mean that Singapore Prime Minister will come alone. He'll be accompanied by retinue of ministers or army generals or news media. He never come alone, but he being the main figure. The news headline just said Singapore Prime Minister visited Malaysia. So in order of predominance or preponderance, we say this is Patavi Dhatu, and Patavi Dhatu to other elements are compounded together. They are inseparable. So please remember that. Though we say Patavi, other Apo, Tejo and Vayu is included. So also, though we ascribe any element to Apo, Apo cannot exist alone. Other three are inseparably compounded together. So how to identify in your practical meditation? If you are noting rising, falling or sitting touch, Rising, falling is the movement of the abdomen going up and down. Element of motion, it is Sayādaw. The abdomen itself is solidity, earth element. Then sometimes you feel sweating there, or moisture there, or sticky sensation there, that is Sayādaw, or water element. Sometimes you feel heat or cold, and that is heat element. So that's how you can identify. So when you are noting sitting and touching, the sitting is, the body is solidity, it is earth element. Heat and cold is the earth element. And sweating, perspiration or stickiness or moisture is Sayādaw or water element. And stiffness, that's the supporting the body to be stiff and erect, is Sayādaw, wind element. So all these four elements you can identify with their natural characteristics. So also in walking meditation, when you are noting left step, right step, or lifting, putting down, or lifting, moving, putting down, the movement of the foot is Sayādaw or wind element. When you lift the foot, you feel light. When you put it down, you feel heavy. Lightness and heaviness is the characteristic of Patavi or earth element. Or if you are experiencing the foot, it is earth element also because it is solidity. Or if you can experience the sensation of hardness, when you put it down, you feel hard touching the floor. And sometimes you feel heat or cold. The floor is hot or cold, is experienced by the contact with your foot. So these are heat elements, and moisture or perspiration, sweating, and these are or water elements. So you can identify these elements. So by these natural characteristics or Sabhava Lakkhana, you can recognize the elements. So when you recognize the elements, you must make a firm resolution that there is no person, there is no individual, no I, nor these are not mine. They are just elements. They are just rupa, material phenomena. And the mind that is noting as rising, falling, or sitting, touching, or lifting, putting, or left step, right step is just a mind or nama. And put only nama and rupa, mind and the matter. Then no I, not mine, no other. So that's how you must contemplate on your object. And that conduces or that amounts to realizing the Four Noble Truths. When you are noting rising, falling, after rising it has to fall, after fall it has to rise. So also after left foot you have to change to right, after right you have to change back to left. Anything that is changing is anicca or impermanent. And anything nature or impermanent is unsatisfactory, dukkha. And these phenomena taking place on their own accord, subject to nobody's will, anatta. This is what we call samanya lakkhana, common or universal characteristics of any phenomenon. How do you identify the Four Noble Truths? The first one, noble truth of suffering. Buddha said, he first elaborated the gross suffering, easy to understand, jati vitokka, jara vitokka, marana vitokka. To be reborn, to be grow old, to be sick, to be die, to be separated from loved ones, to be associated with things that are not pleasant to us, all these after that, he said, Sankhete na Panchupara Nakana Toka. Briefly speaking, these five aggregates that constitute so-called a being, or briefly Nama and Rupa, is Dukkha Satya. So by contemplating on this Nama and Rupa, you are penetrating the first noble truth, Dukkha Satya. Then to a person not meditating, or even if meditating, if we cannot keep our mindfulness on these ultimate realities or Paramatha Dhamma, then we are conditioned to see things as I, my. Supposing you are walking, I am walking. I am feeling tired. My legs are paining. This is Samudaya Satya, the second noble truth. Because we attach, actually these are just mind and matter or five aggregates. But we are conditioned to perceive and to get attached or grasp as my body, this is my leg, I am sitting, I am sitting very comfortably. Or if sensation pain arises, I am paining, my leg is paining, my back is paining. And this I, my, or my atta is Samudaya Satya, the second noble truth of cause of suffering. Because we attach or grab this, and one like after another will be reborn with these Namarupa or five aggregates, or by another being, and these 31 planes of existence will be falling around. So that is the cause of arising of new rebirth, is what it really or truly is this mind and metta, nama and rupa or five aggregates. But we identify as I, my, and this is the cause of suffering. Every time if you are mindfully observing your object, with Sama Sankappa, rightly the mind inclining to see this Paramatha Dhamma, and if you recognize these elements with these characteristics just now I have described, and you can stay with this Paramatha Dhamma, that's Nirodha Satya. That time you are realizing Nibbana, because it's a cessation of suffering. If you can identify these elements as ultimate realities, not I, not my, and not my atta, that is the third noble truth. Be happy.